Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Single Parents Daily Podcast with your hosts,
Chady Dunmore
and Evan DeMarco. I'm going to kind of go off today. I'm sorry. I've just got to go off. So,
what's on your mind, Evan?
What's on my mind is what is going to be a pandemic after the pandemic. And this is through no fault of the teachers, of anybody. So I'm going to preface that right now. But as my daughter's begun distance learning, we recognized that the screen time was just not working for her. You know, her ADD was kicking in. She couldn't stay engaged. She can't stay engaged. And we're hearing this from every single parent out there. It's a difficult situation. The teachers are challenged. They were never educated on how to do this, how to teach through a computer screen. But where I drew the line was Zoom PE.
What's funny about that is Zoom PE sucks because now I have to run the mile every week with my daughter.
But you know, like, so what my ex and I decided to do, and I want to throw a shout out to my ex, who I doubt she'll ever listen to this, but I want to throw a shout out to her because she has been so amazingly proactive with our daughter's education and recognizing the pitfalls. And I will say this, we have come together and worked together in a way that I wasn't ever sure was going to happen, but I'm so appreciative of her in how she's really taken the education of our daughter so seriously in light of the fact that we're both busy. We're both, self-employed. So we've really come together to kind of, try to take this bag of snakes and lay it out straight. And so what we decided to do was ultimately kind of run a homeschool hybrid program. So we've taken her out of school, but she's still submitting her assignments to the teachers. And when we had this initial conversation, we ended up on a conference call, a Zoom call, with her teacher and the principal of the school. And what he told me was something that I'm still shocked. And it hurts me to say is that the district requires 100 minutes of physical activity a week. Not a day.
A week.
A week.
That's it.
That's it. Now, I'm sorry, and we're going to lose our PG rating on this, but that's fucking loony. Like,
it's sad. It's sad more than anything because then we're in a state of COVID and they're wondering why people are getting sick.
Well, it's not just that. So one of the things, a good friend of mine, Dr. Tina, posted some clinical research that shows that now, regardless of what we know about the disease, and that changes every single day, there's a potential that the antibodies that we develop if you get COVID aren't going to last as long as like the typical flu or something like, or any other virus. Now, in light of your antibodies not being there, what you have are T cells, memory cells. Memory cells feed on protein. And what this research found is that obese kids, regardless of whether or not they got fit later on, down the road, still had weaker T cells. They had less immunoresponse to viruses like this, meaning the memory cells didn't hold that memory long enough to fight that virus if we got it again. So now we've got a problem where we've got this virus, and if it's not this one, it's going to be the next one or the one after that. We've got this epidemic of fat, obese kids, and it's going to cause some serious problems. And our school district's solution to that is 100 minutes of physical activity a week?
I feel like they're not making it a priority, but also, too, the fact that they're having these Zoom classes. Have you seen a Zoom class? Like I
watched it, and it was tantamount to watching a train wreck. And again, I get it. Like I don't blame the teachers. These they're being handcuffed. We're trying to do the best that we can, but I'm sorry. Like there's got to be a better way, and I don't know what the solution is. But watching this teacher trying to lead like stretching exercises from his apartment or his house, and the kids just be like, "Cool, these are first graders."
I can't even imagine. Like my daughter's a teenager, so at least the kids are being a little bit more responsive, and they're turning in screenshots of them doing the miles, and they have to do these workouts at home, and they have to videotape it and fast forward it and submit it so they know that they're doing at least 30 minutes to X amount of.
See, that I like, right? And like that's
cool.
A solution. Another solution is look, let's find a tech company, whether it's Apple. Your guys' profits last year were pretty decent. why not start, why not start donating Apple Watches or Fitbits so that, kids can start keeping track of this stuff. If we're going to use technology as a digital interface to physical activity, really use the technology, because Zoom is just total bullshit.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Zoom, you suck too, because,
Well, they're monetizing on all of this.
Oh my God.
They're monetizing. If anything, I feel like the government's involved with Zoom right now. But let's go back to the physical activity. I feel like my daughter is being more responsible now, if anything, because she does have to show the proof in the pudding as far as her doing the work. So they can't cheat. They have to actually physically videotape themselves.
But here's my question. That's great. And
I
I love the fact that they're being held accountable in a distance learning platform. But how much activity, you said the mile, but how often are they required to do that?
They're supposed to do it once or twice a week, and then 30 minutes a week.
Okay.
And then one physical in-person video that they're doing with the Zoom. So it's not that bad if you think about it. I think some schools are different, but they actually had all the kids download the app, Map My Run or something like that. I think it's through Under Armour or another
company's profiting from this.
Of course. Everybody's profiting off of this some way, but she gets to see how much she's running, and they have to do it underneath 12 minutes.
A mile under 12?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. And so she obviously does it underneath 10. But
could you run a sub 12-minute mile right now?
Yeah, I've been doing it with her.
Nice.
Yeah, I do. We do we've done up to 8 to 10 minutes a mile.
Okay.
But it's only a mile, so I can do that. Now you put me in a 3 mile, then I'm probably doing 10 to 11.
Pace changes a little bit?
Yeah, just because I'm not a runner. I'm not, but weight training, I'm a little bit a star in that. But yeah, I get to do these workouts. I actually like it because it's like a bonding thing. And it's like, hey, Mom, you want to do the mile with her? I always want to say yes, even though I hate running. But the fact that she's, inviting me to do it, we're both dying running it in this 100 degrees weather. And the air quality is a little bit better. It's not horrible. But I do like the fact that they're giving them homework to do outside on their own means, and they're being more responsible.
Yeah.
But this is a 14-year-old. She's in high school. I can't imagine Zoom PE with kids in grade school.
No.
That's just...
And look, my solution, even though it's probably not a good one, is the physical education responsibility needs to fall back on the parents right now.
Yeah.
I think about when I was a kid, we had PE every single day. And then I did intramurals after school because they had like an extra hour that you could stay and play dodgeball. And I would do that because I love dodgeball. Mm-hmm. Then I would run home, and then I would stay outside riding my bike or doing something crazy until my parents begged me to come inside, under like pain of death.
Come before it gets dark.
And even at that point, they're like, I would still stay out. It was, building ramps and jumping those with my bike, or just running around with friends, or, so I feel old saying that because it's like, oh, way back when I used to walk uphill in the snow both ways, whatever. But we have changed, and the change is not good. Mm-hmm. Kids right now are so, focused on the screens, with devices, with their iPads and all of that. Now they're focused even more because of distance learning. And now we're taking away physical activity, or putting physical activity in the realm of the screens again. Mm-hmm. Like,
I know. You
know who's behind all of this? The company that makes Ritalin. Because this is a freight train to every single kid having ADHD.
Yeah. It's a huge distraction. And I also feel like physical activity should be implemented as more of a priority versus, the kids are already sitting at home. I think, it did suck the fact that we had all these fires, unfortunately, because, that was a scapegoat for all of us to take walks outside because we were so isolated.
Yeah.
And we couldn't even do that for a while, I'm not sure what's next. I feel 2020, we have 97 days left.
Yeah. What's next and what we're seeing, I think, on social media is the mass exodus of California. But beyond that, here's what I've come up with, guys. And here's the science behind this. Brain-derived neurotropic factor, BDNF. When we look at brain development, it does not come from being sedentary. When we look at our ability to learn, it does not come from being sedentary. So as parents, it is up to us, and write your school, send an email, smoke signals, whatever. tell them screw you. Like, it's a public school. I'm going to take PE into my own way. And I, again, they're going to keep the PE teachers on. They have to, because at some point this is all going to change. But 100 minutes a week is lunacy. It should be 100 minutes a day minimum. And when we look at what the physiological impact of sedentary kids is with COVID, if we look at it from diabetes, if we look at it from brain health, they're not going to learn. You need brain-derived neurotropic factor, which comes from physical activity, to start to imprint some of the things that we're going to learn. So not only do we have the physical issues, but we're going to raise a generation of morons.
Yeah. I also think that too, when we just like the fact that we just interviewed Dr. Emily Ventura about sugar, and, the accessibility to sugar in the house because of our snacking as parents. We're guilty of, like, we're trying to multitask right now. We're working, we're trying to do this homeschooling thing. And, we need to be more aware of not only our kids' physical activity, but what they're intaking. And I think there should be a rule, 100 minutes of workout a day, right? And then, or steps or whatnot. And then it should be how many ounces of water a child is drinking, because if they're not drinking a certain amount of water, of course they're going to be wanting to crave sugar, and as adults, we should know that. So let's make new rules.
Well, new rules. So here's the first one, right? Is, take control of your kids' physical education. Work out with them. That is an ultimate family bonding thing. Second rule is get them a 32-ounce water bottle. They can decorate it. Make that a family thing. Yeah. That's something that they fill
Hydro
up.
flask.
Yeah. Fill up twice throughout the day. They have to drink that. Because as we find out, when kids are dehydrated, they snack more. And the third one, and I really like this coming out of our thing, is set up a snack bowl at the beginning of the day, and that's their snack bowl. Yeah. Like, anything that's in that is fair game, and that's it. If they eat it in the first 10 minutes, or if they eat it throughout the day. Smart. And it actually kind of reminded me of that interview that we did with Aubrey Huff, where he charges the kid's iPad on Sunday, and then they get it until it's dead. Whether that's day one or they make it all the way to the next charge day. But I think, we've become so, distracted ourselves as parents, trying to teach and trying to work. My daughter's thing, she's like, can I have a snack? And I'm like, just to avoid the hassle, I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah. Take the 5 minutes, set the snack bowl up at the beginning of the day. And then hey, daughter, son, whatever, there's your snacks for the day. Yeah.
My mom did when she was younger, when I was younger, she always we had a refrigerator outside in the garage. And so when we were riding bike and our friends, she knew my health issues with my kidneys. She was really neurotic with salt intake and just me having a lot of sugar. So she would always cut up tons of fruit, like tons of it, in the refrigerator, so it was accessible to all of my friends. And she had healthy snacks and stuff like plums and so on. And then we had no soda. It was tons of water bottles. Did she have juices? She had lemonade. And I think the fact is that we have to plan for success in all areas in life. And it's just like, if you're trying to prepare for a diet or prepare for your kids to just eat healthier and to boost your immune system yourself, is just to prepare for that, and just really like take note of, like, cutting up cucumbers and then creating like a hummus bowl. This just has to be accessible, because if not, we're going to backtrack and just
know. And look, the food companies have been exploiting the workload that has been put on the American worker for years, decades now. And so when things become more accessible, they become easier. Now, ease drives cost down, cost drives quality down. So there's an economic component of this that that shows us that the typical snack food that our kids are eating, Keebler crackers, even goldfish, right? I mean, things that you would think, oh, it's baked crackers. Well, it's still crap, right? So it's up to us as parents. Physical health begins at home. And while I was ultimately furious with the school for their 100 minutes, I recognize that, they still have things that they have to accomplish, right? So within a system, they're doing what they can, which means the onus is on us as parents. Physical fitness, health. I love the idea of a Fitbit, or something like. Yeah.
They have a lot of schools. I know that my daughter had in Country Day when she went there. They have these little steps, and they have to hit a certain amount of steps a day, and then that would contribute to donating to a certain charity. But I think that I think we all should implement that, because it's huge, and I think that kids need to be more physical outside besides or inside. And I mean, what kind of stuff were you going to start implementing? Dodgeball would probably be cool because it'd bring you back to your childhood.
Oh, well, so starting next week, what we're doing is pod education. So we've got some kids from her school, and each parent is going to be taking a day.
Okay.
And so, I've got dodgeball trampoline set up.
Nice.
My daughter's actually gotten to the point where she's really working on her squat.
Okay.
So we've started some Olympic style lifts, just
That's cool.
because she likes the idea, and so. It's all about combining the education with the activity. How can we make games out of how can we make games out of dodgeball? We've got the power plate right next to us here.
Yeah.
And it's great. So she does her flashcards on that.
Nice.
So every squat on the power plate, she has to spell a letter of a word.
That's brilliant.
And so it's what can we do to change the dynamic, to change the paradigm, and make sure that our kids are getting the education and the physical activity. And look, I know that this is not going to be perfect for everyone. There's financial issues, there's economic issues, there's time issues. But small modifications now, small tweaks can lead to giant changes in the future.
Yeah, and I think that even my daughter creating playlists for both of us, because we share an AirPod when we're running.
That's cool.
And so I said, create a playlist for us to run. And so I think just, it's implementing that, and also knowing that you're not just helping your child, excel in their health, but it's bonding. And I think that's the most important.
Yeah, and you and I are fortunate enough. Health and wellness has been a large part of our life. So we lead by example in that respect, but there's a lot of people out there. So it's take the opportunity now to absolutely lead by example with your kids.
Yeah.
Go hiking, plan things in their day that, walks around the block, get the 10,000 steps,
take the dogs on a walk.
Yeah, take the dogs. And it doesn't have to be go to a CrossFit class. It can be start small. And when we any goal, right? If we break it down into small, digestible chunks, it becomes easier. Take it, the first day is 10,000 steps, then it's 10,000 plus a game of dodgeball, then it's 10,000 and we're going to do 20 push-ups together. But the small things make a big difference, and we can't rely on the school systems right now. We can't really rely on anybody other than
ourselves. And our own actions. Yeah. Because we don't know what's next. So I appreciate that.
I heard aliens are coming next week.
Who knows? With some unicorn, riding out on a unicorn.
That would be great. Aliens, unicorns, and then zombies the week after.
Oh boy.
In fact, I think the aliens are coming to put out the fires.
That would be nice.
That'd be nice.
That would be great.
But then, from my understanding, is the stuff that they use to put out the fires then grows zombies.
Oh boy. Let's think positive. Let's focus on our kids and ourselves right now.
We just talked about unicorns. That's positive. All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in to a rant. Hopefully you got something out of this. Look, I know we're all struggling right now. It's tough out there as parents, as single parents. If you're distance learning, that's an added level of stress. If you're not, then you're one of the lucky ones. But there's still obviously the fears that come with being in this kind of COVID world. So just keep on plugging, knowing that we're here with you. We're all going through this together. And if you need anything, reach out to us. Social media. Go to the website. We're always here to answer questions and to help you guys. We are a community, and the stronger the community, the easier it is for us to get through all this together.
Yeah, and please message us if you want us to discuss a certain topic too.
Totally.
Yeah.
Actually, I get weird requests all the time.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh boy, don't tell me about them.
No, I mean, I'm like, a lot of it is, interestingly enough, a lot of it's sexual. I think that, there's right now in COVID, a lot of people are like, well, how do I date? How do I, how do I pursue sexual relationships? I found someone that I really liked digitally, but I'm afraid because we can't connect physically that I'm going to lose that person. And so people are actually in this place where they're starting to put their own health at risk because of fear. And it's like, so there's some really fascinating topics that I've been messaged on as of late, and we can touch on some of those.
Yeah, we'll try to do that next time.
Yeah. So, but again, continue to message us, which I need method. I've got a lisp. Message us with anything you want to talk about, and we're happy to do that. We've got some great guests coming up as well. So excited for more editions of the Single Parent Daily
podcast
with
Chady Denmore
and Evan DeMarco. See you next week.
Bye, guys.